takeaways for you. One that was particularly important for a group of business and civic leaders who are dealing with public housing is that you need to know and understand the culture in which you're embarking on the work. To pretend that you do is folly, and to have the humility to say we have a lot to learn and we want to better understand is really important. The second is to secure a reputable convener and facilitator for this kind of cross-sector partnership. And in our case, it was the Chicago Community Trust as our community foundation. That was a great place to not only steward the funds that were coming in for this purpose, but also the effort. The third is that alignment of all of the aspects of your initiative is essential and just has to be tended constantly.
It's really critical that you really assess your capacity and constantly understand where you might have deficiencies and where additional investment in capacity is really required in order for you to advance an agenda, because this is a role, that backbone role is really a role that typically is under-resourced and has a high threshold for burnout. I'm going to also say grow patience. It's not going to work perfectly every time, as I'm sure you all have experienced, and it really requires, for those of us who are really committed to the big goal or the big population level result, it takes folks a lot of time to kind of come around to subscribing to that same kind of ethos. And so we have to grow patience and not go any faster than what people can really endure. And that's something that we definitely learned in Newark. And Living Cities has actually helped us learn that lesson as well. For us, it was a game changer to really figure out what needle we were trying to move, what was the impact. It's very easy to get lost in kind of the loftiness of these huge endeavors. Identify what that population level result is, because it definitely helps you, for the question that was asked earlier, it helps you understand what's in and what's out. And that's both from a content specific perspective as well as stakeholders. There are some stakeholders that just don't need to be at the table.
I don't know, words of wisdom, if you can call it that. One is make it time limited. We think that's really important in our work because it provides an urgency and provides some momentum and provides a focal point for you to make the decision of whether this thing continues or not. And you should make that decision consciously, not keep going. Focus on abundance of existing resources. And what I mean by that is there are times when new resources are important, but there's also an existing set of resources that are actually meant to solve the problems and work on the problems that exist. And if you don't have an eye toward how you utilize the existing resources in better ways to reach the outcomes that you want, no new supply of money is going to solve it. And then finally, and this goes to sort of maybe the more McKnight's philosophy, but it's about integrating across funding streams to accomplish outcomes. So there's a whole lot of siloed funding streams, and we think a lot about how those have to interact to actually get the outcomes that we want. It's not just housing, it's housing connected to transportation. It's not just transportation and housing, it's energy efficient housing. So there's a whole comprehensiveness to the work, and I think that's important in these sort of collaboratives to be to really deal with the complex systems.